This is Delhi. Please stand by for our next program. This is All India Radio. In commemoration of the 8th edition of International Yoga Day, we now bring you a panel discussion entitled Yoga, the Global Panacea. The panelists are Dr. I.V. Basavaraddi, Director, Morarji Desai, National Institute of Yoga, New Delhi, Miss Apurva Saxena, acclaimed yoga educator, and Amit Arora, media personality who initiates and moderates this panel discussion.
Greetings on International Yoga Day. And as the world celebrates 8th edition of Yoga Day today, on the 21st of June 2022, let's on the program discuss the evolution of yoga since its origin and how it is helping bring holistic well-being. To discuss this in the National Program of Talks here in the studios of All India Radio, I'm joined by two distinguished guests, Dr. Basavaraddi, Director, Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga. Also with us is Ms. Apurva Saxena, yoga educator. Dr. Ishwar, let me begin by asking you, how did yoga originate and how do you see the evolution till present times?
Yes. Yoga has been evolved from the pre-Vedic period. What is the nature of a human being? It is a sukha pravritti, dukkha nivritti. Everybody want to live happy and in peace. But the sorrow or pain or dukkha follows. This is the fundamental principle. First it comes to the body, then going to the higher level it is the mind, then it is the spirit. For all these things they have evolved certain practices, maybe some physical exercises, then they converted into asana, some breathing, then meditation. The ancient time, pre-Vedic period, there were no documentation and it is documented in the Indus Valley civilizations, you can get it. During the Vedic period, it has been documented in all the Vedas. There are two major aspects. One is the Karma Kanda, where the rituals are dominated, and by doing rituals also, they do some mantra chanting, they do some breathing practices, they do some meditation. Most importantly, in the Jnana Kanda, where Upanishad comes, Jnana, what I am, the questioning. So it's a very high level intellectual pursuit. Then afterwards, it's a Sutra period. Many yogis have been documented very systematically in the terms of formulas. Then on that formulas, it is not easy to understand by the common people. Then there is a commentary on that to explain that. Like this it evolved, but in the after the 12th or 14th century, and it has taken several other dimensions. So that is a bhakti movement. You can see the Dasa Parampara. This has taken the Hatha Yoga has come into the limelight. So various dimensions, Mantra Yoga, Hatha Yoga, Laya Yoga. Then in the modern age, like Ramakrishna, Aurobindo, have been integrating all the schools of yoga. And in the modern times, then it's the contemporary times. Maharshi Mahesh Yogi, Transcendental Meditation, Acharya Rajneesh, and great yoga scholars, Dhirendra Brahmachariji. Beauty of yoga is it is evolved catering to the needs of the people to live healthy, happy, and also in peace.
In your experience, Apurvaji, has it become popular among the masses in recent years, particularly the youth?
Yes, so I mainly teach the youth, and social media has been a very, very major influencer when it comes to youngsters doing yoga. And I am also really grateful to our PM for starting the concept of International Day Yoga. And it actually brought worldwide attention towards yoga, and the entire world was looking towards India because that's the place yoga took birth. And today youth is now very well aware about their health, about their body, about their mind. And they understand that whenever stress enters in their life, the first thing they think about is going to a yoga teacher. And yes, they also think of going to doctors, but I'm very lucky to train a lot of youngsters these days who realize that yes, we need someone who helps us through natural forms of healing like yoga.
So usually the youngsters that come to you, because Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga is one of the premier institute.
Yeah.
What's their prime reason?
So I found three important reasons. Many of the young boys and comes for nowadays there is a fitness. They want to keep themselves fit. That population is small. The second one is coming, yes, definitely nowadays stress, anxieties are there, and they are suffering from some insomnia and many of these side effects of stress also. So they are coming for that. And another population is coming for the personality development.
Okay.
So I am okay, but I am not able to deliver. So yoga is the means. Therefore, they come here for the health promotion or personality development. Then there are other sections, they are all marginal. These are the major three dimensions where youths are coming for the oriented for the yoga practice.
So Apurvaji, if somebody looks at yoga only from the prism of exercise. So that's not correct. How would you advise the youngsters tuned to All India Radio today that yoga should become part of their lifestyle?
So I personally feel yoga is not just asana. Yoga is a way of life. You live yoga. You don't just practice yoga. Especially the 8 folds of yoga. For a yoga teacher or yoga practitioner, we live on the tenets of those 8 folds. But for youngsters, it's very important to understand that if they are mentally fit, only then they will be able to create their body physically strong and fit. If you're not happy and mentally healthy, you can never reach your goals. So I basically try and make them understand that being happy and healthy holistically through yoga is the main objective that we are doing right now.
So you are trained in Hatha Yoga.
Yes.
What is Hatha Yoga?
So Hatha Yoga is a beautiful science of swaras and energies where we balance our swaras, Ida, Pingla and Sushumna with the help of asana, pranayam, bandha and dharana and dhyan. So all these practices help us in balancing our prana. Now I will not go in detail because our listeners might not understand that. When our pranas, especially the Surya and Chandra nadis, when these nadis are balanced, we stay in an equilibrium of mental, physical and emotional as well as spiritual body. When that state is attained, you do not need small reasons to find happiness, like people go for shopping, watching movies. We don't need all of that because we stay in that equilibrium at all times. The objective of yoga is to remain free from sorrows and pains. And in all the aspects of life, like we went through COVID, last year was very difficult for everyone. But had I not been into yoga, it would have been a very difficult time for me to pass on.
Would you say last 2 years were very difficult across the globe with the pandemic? Not only India, internationally, many countries embraced yoga techniques to fight the pandemic?
Yeah, sure. But we, the Indians, manage it better because yoga is our way of life.
Yes.
So it's not the asanas what we are promoting. If you go to any village, they are living yoga.
Right.
For them, it's not a separate identity. Right. So what happens, I found 5 dimensions of yoga in the pandemic. So first of all, when we are in the front line, healthcare workers, we went to COVID centers and advocated yoga practices to the COVID patients in 2020, first time in April, May, etc., where lockdowns are there. So where we evolved very simple techniques, there are a lot of anxiety. One is the mental stress, I got this corona. The second one is the impact of the virus. So that together, then yoga reduces your anxiety. It gives the hope. So that means you get some energy to fight the virus. So this is the most important. The medicine is having its own impact, but your mental agony has been reduced by the practice of yoga. That's why there is a strength for the COVID patients first. The second one is the most vulnerable group like diabetes, etc. Third most to be the healthcare workers. So they may be doctors or nurses or the Safai Karamcharis. And fourth important aspect is for the rehabilitation. Rehabilitation after the COVID, now we are selling a lot of things. And we evolved the protocols for various groups. For diabetic COVID patient is different, hypertension COVID patient is different.
And these protocols are available online?
Yes, available online. Also, we have published and videos are also there. And still the research is going on.
On the websites
of Morarji Desai Institute and also Ayush Ministry, we develop the protocols also. Fifth most important in the general population. So they are in the home quarantine or in the lockdown period and there is no movement. People are really stressed. So away from the family, away from the workplace, 1 day, 1 week, it's okay. But 2-3 months, and the entire population, the large population are coming under a lot of stress and agony. Yoga has helped a lot. Many people start doing it. That's why this year International Day of Yoga is more significant, and because more number of people coming forward to practice and celebrate on that day because they are aware of the impact of yoga on their life. With experience they are coming. With spontaneously, voluntarily they are coming. There is no need to bring them. This is the wonderful change we are going to see in this 8th edition of IDY.
And the last 2 editions that we had because of COVID, we only had the online movement and we had the live program, which people attended, say, either through All India Radio or Doordarshan. But when we were talking about the evolution of yoga, there is a Mysuru style, the traditional style of yoga as well.
So it's a beautiful style of yoga and where we combine pranayam and asana practice together. We do Jai pranayam along with the asana posture. And this actually helps a lot in making you mentally strong, because the physical practice is a little difficult and challenging, though there are variations. Mysore is a beautiful city. The energy is spiritual there, and the vibe is so beautiful. People are really helpful, and they call yogshalas there, not studios. And the authenticity and reality I found honestly in Mysore, and it was amazing experience there. The shalas have that aura, that vibe, and the practice makes you feel close to your higher self, your real spiritual self. So every yoga teacher should go to Mysore, stay there for a month or two, do training with different yoga schools.
And last 8 years, Dr. Ishwar Basavaraddi, we've seen that you've been the face who helped the masses conduct a common yoga protocol. In that, we've seen the 8 steps. That we start with prayer, we do some loosening exercise for microcirculation, then we've got the asanas, Kapalbhati, then we've got sequence, pranayam, dhyan, and sankalp and shanti part. Please apprise our viewers, is it necessary that when somebody initiates themselves into yoga, they follow this 8-step process, not that dhyan can come before asana, it has to happen in a chronology?
Yeah, it's a very important question. So the issue is when you do some yoga, there is a anushasana. There should be step by step. We want to loosen our body and we want to stretch our spine. We want to move the body properly. Then the nadis are open up. For that, we have to open the frontal sinus. The diaphragm must be easy. Then we take the breathing practices. So with the breathing, then there is a concentration comes. Then we can meditate. There is a systematic evolution. But if you don't have the time, you can do directly some 1, 2, 3 asanas and do pranayama and meditation. So that's why this 45 minutes, we made it 20 minutes also, we made 10 minutes also, now we come up with 5 minutes. But what we evolved, it is a very scientific based on our classical principles. That's why first we loosen, then we stretch, and we neuromuscular coordination, then breathe coordination, regulation. So what Patanjali said, Dharanasa Yoga Manasa, the impact of pranayama is to make you concentrate. So that's the technique. So then unless you do that, you cannot concentrate or meditate.
Right.
So these are all very systematic, but at the same time, we don't have time. So we can do the same thing in 5 minutes, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour. That protocol is also available in the WHO YUM app.
Okay.
These are all available. We are aware of the situation. So somebody will do it just like a trailer.
Right,
You start with
right.
5 minutes, but after 1 month, you will not remain in 5 minutes. You will
You'll
spend
be
half an hour.
But what has been your experience when the youngsters join yoga? Do they stay? How do you motivate them to be consistent?
Right. So honestly, for youngsters, we have to bring in a lot of styles. My classes are divided between one day I'm taking Hatha Yoga, the next day I'm taking Ashtanga Vinyasa, next day I'm taking Kundalini, then another day I combine contemporary yoga according to their needs. Youngsters approach us for weight loss. So slowly they understand that weight loss is a slow and gradual process. Yoga works on our endocrine system, our digestive system, all the functions of the body, and especially with women, like I discussed before. These days, hormonal imbalances are very, very prevalent. 1 in every 3 girl is suffering from PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. And the root cause is the disruption between the pineal pituitary and the ovaries. All these glands which produces hormones, they go disbalanced. And yoga works directly on these systems, helping them stimulate the hormones and balancing it.
And in women, if PCOD goes untreated, it can lead to fibroids.
Yes,
So
definitely.
what asanas can you suggest that people can do both as preventive and curative for this?
Right. So there are 2 major asanas which will cater the root chakra and Swadhisthana chakra. So I would recommend Bhunamanasana, Paschimottanasana, and if they practice Surya Namaskar also, it will also help them in regulating PCOD, because it needs to be managed. PCOD needs to be managed with a good yogic practice and diet. It goes forever. So they have to live that lifestyle.
And since you mentioned weight loss a couple of times, and that is such a common problem, so if somebody does have visceral fat, stomach fat,
yes.
a couple of asanas that you could suggest.
So Naukasana is a very beautiful pose for visceral fat. Then Uttan Padasana is very nice. Padhastasana is also very good pose. And as I mentioned, Paschimottan and Bhunaman will also help them in contraction of the belly. Pranayam also works a lot when it comes to stomach fat. And Shatkarma practices, if they practice Kapalbhati especially, it will also help in stomach fat.
So given the fact that yoga's popularity has increased internationally, are there enough yoga educators? Are people coming to join institute like yours? And what courses could they really have? And what are the career opportunities for youngsters?
Yeah, there are 4 questions. First of all, is there any sufficient number of people to teach? Yes, but at the same time, still there is a scarcity of qualified, competent teachers. So because in a very short time, catering to nearly 10 lakh to 20 lakh teachers, it's not a small populations. Because one teacher can address a day beautifully for 100 people maximum, if you want to teach very effectively, or maximum 200 people. So if you see now we are reaching the target of 25 crore people this time, the target. So it's a huge population. But what we are doing, we prepared the cater to the needs of the larger population. We made the very systematized models. We are using the TVs now with the DD Direct, etc. Every day the classes are going on. So we want to find out. But there is no substitute for the person-to-person teaching. There is no substitute, but this is one. Second one is through our Yoga Certification Board of Ministry of Ayush. We start certificating and giving them some orientation. Who has the knowledge and skill? They don't have the certification, but they have the knowledge and skill. Certify them, orient them, and put them in the field for the training. This is the second. Now, in the third one is, in the last 8 years, it's an exponential growth. Suppose earlier I am getting only 100 students, so I am getting now 600 students for the same course. So now I increase the number of courses, number of seats, etc. And now I started improving the admissions. I am giving the revenue also, and that's last important aspect is there any career requirement? So my humble suggestion to all the youngsters, its job means it's not a government job. So IT people never go to, or the management people never aspirants of the government job. So nowadays, yoga is a soft power.
Okay.
It's a soft power,
Yes.
and you have all the avenues to reach out to the president of any country or the head of any states you can reach if you have the capability to teach yoga. In my institute, we have a flagship program of 1 year diploma. Whoever pass that 1 year diploma, they will earn minimum 30 to 50,000 rupees per month. 1 year diploma.
So who could do that? Plus 12?
No,
After 12?
No, it is a degree. But plus 12, we have a 6 months course, 3 months course also. Last important thing is, it's a soft power. Soft power means, so we are communicating our culture, health and happiness principles of living together to the entire world. It's not only the earning the livelihood, but also spreading the message of our culture and tradition. And also humanitarian values are involved. That's why this year our Prime Minister chosen Yoga for Humanity.
That's the theme, Yoga for Humanity. Because it is a service after all. Once you become a yoga educator, it's a service that you're doing.
Right.
Apurva ji, what's your story? What prompted you? Because I thought you had an MBA job earlier.
Yes. So I come from a corporate background. I was working with a travel corporate and a PR and advertising firm. But I've been doing yoga from the age of 8, as my mother was follower Guru Dhirendra Brahmachari. So at that time we used to get VCR and we used to do practice together, watching the cassettes on the TV. And after that, my practice was mainly postural. But in 2008, when I was into dancing, I was a jazz dancer, I was practicing yoga only till physical aspect. I incurred through episode of manic disorder. And that was because some chemical reactions happened in my brain due to overwork and over studies. My story was showcased in a leading national television channel. Because of yoga, my medication of manic disorder was reduced to just 9 months of treatment, which had to go for 4 years and 5 years. And my doctor said that, you should resume yoga now, not just from physical aspect, but from spiritual and emotional well-being. And I was able to come out of that psychiatric treatment in just 9 months. And I didn't look back. It was only yoga for me. I left my corporate job and I got into yoga. I did diplomas and courses. And one quote that I learned from my guru, Padam Shri Bharat Bhushan ji, he says, Yog maza hai, saza nahi hai. So I realized that I was only focusing on postures in 2007 and 8. But when I realized the pure bliss, anand, in breathing, dharana and meditation, I realized that this is the best life. And I'll stop running after my job and live my life comfortably as a yoga teacher.
So, Dr. Ishwar, what are the other research areas where you believe in coming years there'll be more focus?
Yeah, again, there are 3 dimensions you ask. First of all, how yoga works. Whenever you do regularly half an hour yoga practice, which includes asana, pranayama, relaxation, meditation, it's a package, it's a protocol package, or it's a capsule. Whenever you do that, 3 things happens. You start digesting well. Whatever you eat, you digest. Whenever you eat well, digest well, absorb well, circulate well, and that entire metabolism give you strength. Your body is active physical body. The second one is, whenever you do yoga, you sleep well.
Yes.
Sleep is an important mental component. Many people who don't get sleep because of social media and many things, we know that. So sleep well. Then it is work well. Yoga helps you to work well. What tells you that? That is the thing. You half an hour yoga practice. So you don't spend any money for that. You eat well. Metabolism is fantastic. Sleep well, work well. These are the three fundamental. On this area, we did research on many things. First of all, we found if you care more than 12,000 research paper published in peer-reviewed index journals, half of them on meditation and mental health and stress management.
Okay.
Most of them on stress and anxiety, etc. Whoever practice 20 minutes of 30 minutes of practice, their cortisol level comes down. And HP exists. That's a balance what Nikita was told. So there is a balance in the sympathetic and parasympathetic network.
Okay.
And the vagus functions improves. So then especially in the rehabilitation, cardiac rehabilitation, cancer rehabilitation, now the COVID rehabilitation process, there is no other therapy than the yoga therapy which come to the rescue, and there are hundreds of research papers published. Nowadays, two things are widely this thing. One is hypertension and second one is the diabetes. So many times we become the victim of the pharmacoba, all these things. Unnecessarily we start taking a hypertensive drug or diabetic drugs. No, just start yoga. If you are in the beginning stage, you are prone for diabetic or hypertension, start doing yoga for half an hour or 45 minutes every day and you will not do. A small variation, it will manage. I always oppose, if you are in the precondition, don't take medication. Do start yoga instead of taking medication. Once you start medication, you will become the victim of the one after the other. You are generating few other complications in the years to come. So you are preventing not only the taking of the medicine, but also you are preventing the supposed diseases which are going to occur after 5 years or 10 years. So that's a very wonderful way. We have a lot of research, and even our common yoga protocol, we did a lot of multi-centric studies.
Okay.
It found very useful, especially in the mental health and overcoming the many of these non-communicable diseases.
Okay.
I would like to mention that our institute, Morarji Desai National Institute, is a WHO collaborative center for traditional medicine yoga, where we developed the protocol for 12 protocols.
Okay.
For the various age groups like children, women, then the mental health, etc. Then the disease specific, hypertension, cardiovascular disorders, and diabetes, arthritis, like this. We develop the protocol which are based on the researches conducted across the globe till date.
Okay. And since we always say catch them young, in your opinion and experience, do you think that schools more and more these days are embracing yoga as part of their syllabus?
Yes. My daughter is 4 years old, and her the holiday homework assignments was that please capture her pictures and videos and make her do yoga. You should start them young at the age of 4 or 5 years old, and advanced practice can start post 6 years old, and they should get into the habit of doing postures and breathing, especially because mindfulness is the need of the hour.
Yeah,
it is indeed. But Dr. Ishwar, when people want to meditate, they're aware of the benefits and they sit, they cannot be mindful.
yeah.
They have so many distractions coming in their mind.
Yeah.
How to tackle that?
So that's why I'm telling, whenever you start meditation, there are some prerequisites. You first of all wash your face, wash your hand. That's not sit and meditate. No, stretch your spine. And one left, forward, backward like this. Stretch your spine and breathe 5-10 times. So then chant something, Brahmari or humming sound. Then slowly it bring within. So then start chanting some Bij mantras or as per the directions. As per your nature, teacher will give you some solutions. So concentrating on your thoughts or watching your thoughts or chanting some mantras of your interest. It will not happen in a day. Truly speaking, meditation cannot be taught, Amitji.
Okay.
Meditation happens.
Absolutely.
So we can give you the tips to meditate, but nobody can teach you meditation. Meditation happens. It happens once you follow the systematic procedure. It's a science. It's a technology. Meditation is a deep silence where you absorb in your own nature. It will not happen in a day or two. That's why samasanas, pranayama. Patanjali says pranayama, why is mentioned? Dharana suyeva.
Yes.
This one. So manas will concentrate when you do that. There are techniques.
Right. And, in our day-to-day practice, would you say walking is also yoga? Would you say a few things we can imbibe in my lifestyle so that at least I get initiated more and more into this tradition?
I think if we are doing anything mindfully, without any thoughts around, People don't eat food mindfully. They have one hand holding a phone, checking their chats. Even to the washroom, they take their phones along. They have so much of emails to reply. So that is wrong. We are not being in yoga with ourselves. Yoga is union. It came from the word yuj. Union, we go disunion if we don't be in mindfulness, if we don't eat food mindfully, if we don't drink water mindfully. People go to park for walk, they use music, they use headphones. That is not mindfulness.
Yes.
Their mind is somewhere else and their feet is walking. So mindfulness is being present in every moment. Whatever you're doing, be 110% there.
And if the youngster says, Dr. Ishwar, I want to do yoga, but I can't find time. I have to study. I'm busy in exams.
Yes. So what we suggest in examination also we developed certain techniques so they can't escape from that. So certain I don't find time. It's another thing. Yes, you don't find time for half an hour, but you can do something in 1 minute. So 1 minute will become 2 minutes. Like this, we developed a very, very short type of thing. Only thing you have to aware that I have to keep myself healthy and fit. Once you learn this mantra, because why Vests are coming in large number for the yoga, because the health services are very costly and also they don't have the guarantee. That's why in the West, if you see the yoga, why they are behind, it's a cost effective and there is no alternative.
Yes.
So that's why youngsters may tell today or tomorrow, it become the reality. They have to. So in the 2005 and 6 or 8, we did very wonderful multicentric studies on the call centers. Our young people are doing whole night and their sleep pattern has been disturbed and we given yoga. So in 30 years, they become the old age. I am seeing the symptom of 45 years at the age of 28, 26. Right. So now doing yoga, it took nearly 9 months for them to overcome these syndromes. So that means this is become the reality, and there are many means to influence them to practice yoga, and depends upon the situation, depends upon the other circumstances. There are many techniques to motivate them to go. IDY is one of the motivation.
Some tips and techniques for pregnant women and lactating mothers.
First thing I would recommend is breath work. It's very important for pregnant women to stay mentally fit and healthy. So we advise them Nadi Shodhan Pranayam and belly breathing. It will help them in the process of delivery as well and labor as well. And very easy side bending postures, stretching postures, and they can do squats along with the wall support, and make sure they have someone helping them along, because it's a very sensitive phase for a woman. And yoga actually helps the baby and the mother so much that the baby is born with the sanskar. The seed already has that sanskara of yoga inbuilt. So that's the most beautiful thing a mother can gift to her child.
So to clarify, Nadi Shodhan is the Anulom Vilom.
Anulom Vilom, yes. Okay. Anulom Vilom.
And for senior citizens?
So senior citizens, it is always first we go for the relaxation.
Okay.
Then there is a moment. Always the old age, they get the pain, joint pains and ligaments, and the body is crushed. So that's why they can't stretch much. Those who are not in the realm of physical activities, definitely they feel a lot of pain. That's why do some sukshma, rotating your wrist, neck, trunk, knees, ankle joints, like that. So we do very systematically in a scientific manner. That's one thing. Always it is Anulom Vilom is the mother of all pranayama. So always it is advised to do not only once or twice, you do it for at least 10 to 20 times, so that the breath becomes regulated, and most importantly, give them yoga nidra for 20 minutes. Relax your toes, and there are 64 vital points and there are 32, like this, depends upon. So when they learn the art of yoga nidra, they start meditating, because in the old age there is a quality of sleep. They sleep less time.
Okay.
So many time there is a constipation. Digestive powers will be reduced. So after 60-65, all these things will be overcome by Pavan Muktasana, Bhujangasana, Ardha Matsyendrasana or Vakrasana, or even the stretching in the Tadasana, etc. Simple practices will help them to live better.
Right, simple practices, but yoga is for everyone, and it can really give you holistic well-being. Once again, Dr. Ishwar Basavaraddi, Ms. Apurva Saxena, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
In our national program of talks tonight, you just heard a panel discussion entitled Yoga, the Global Panacea, brought to you in commemoration of the 8th edition of International Yoga Day. The panelists were Dr. I.V. Basavaraddi, Director, Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga, New Delhi, Miss Apurva Saxena, acclaimed yoga educator, and Amit Arora, media personality, who initiated and moderated this panel discussion. Produced and presented by Naveen K. Gupta of All India Radio, Delhi, this program came to you from the Delhi station of All India Radio.